Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at a subreddit that is new to the channel, which is r/NuclearRevenge on special request. And in today's post, OP gets someone deported because they didn't pay them. So yeah, that's a kind of a hint into what we're getting into today. Very drastic actions. If that sounds like your cup of tea, then stick around and enjoy. And like and subscribe if you would like to too. So before we even start, I'm just going to say I do apologise if I sound a bit gravelly today. I'm having a bit of a flare up, so my voice sounds so scratchy, but we will push on and ignore it if possible. So the first one is threaten my friend with revenge P. I'll ruin your whole life. My good friend made some slightly dumb mistakes and sent some pictures to someone that she reasonably thought she could trust. But not knowing much more than his first name, his screen name, and roughly where he lived and the type of work he did. Yeah, let's just take a second to say don't send anyone pictures or information that you have never met before in your life and you don't know and trust extraordinarily well. Realistically, I would say don't send anyone pictures ever because it might be someone you trust at the time, but if there is ever a falling out, how do you know they're not going to be spiteful and use them against you? So, yeah, definitely one to be cautious of. He is not in our country, but had indicated that he would be travelling for work to near us shortly, and they had made some plans to meet. And when she got some red flags and backed out, the dude threatened to publish these pictures online. Yeah, see what I mean? You fall out with them and then they do this. I am, incidentally, an attorney. So, some searching later and gathering up any pictures he sent her of him that could possibly identify him, his online handle led me to a TikTok page, which led me to an Instagram page with his name on it. Oh, you've got to be careful of those little digital footprints if you're going to come on the internet acting like a complete incel. That led to a LinkedIn page with his place of work that matched a picture he sent with a branded polo he was wearing. Some more searches got me the email of the CEO, VP of HR, Operations Manager, and Public Relations Manager. Ooh, I like it. I just fired off an email on behalf of my client of the screenshots of him threatening Revenge P, snippets of the conversation showing that username while he sent the exact picture of him wearing his company's branded apparel, links to how I know it's him, along with the pictures he sent her of his motorcycle with the license plate showing as future proof it is him. I also included screenshots of him discussing a workplace incident that were timestamped, along with pieces of dialogue discussing how he had had S with an X at his place of work, and discussing his plans to have S with her in his office as well. I also included a picture he sent her showing his work laptop with his entire Outlook calendar along with proprietary information, which he sent to prove he was busy, along with other pictures he took of his workplace with non-consenting employees. I further informed his employer that I will be forwarding all this information to law enforcement, and since he had indicated that he would be travelling to the United States soon, will also forward this to the local office of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, as, since my client is a US citizen on US soil, these threats constitute a federal crime, so that should they continue with his employment and continue with their plans to send him to the United States for work, I will ensure, on behalf of my client, that federal law enforcement is waiting for him on arrival, which I will do, as one of the assistant US attorneys for this region is a law school buddy of mine. Since I have his license plate number, I know where he lives and will be contacting his local authorities tomorrow. You dumb mother effer, thinking you were hiding around anonymity, thinking you could threaten my friend. It took me 45 minutes to destroy your life. Love it. And then down in the comments, my choice not yours says, please keep us updated because, oh, I do love karma. And then Curiosity92 said, I'm going to pop some popcorn in the microwave waiting for the update. Yeah, I would really like to see the update as well. And luckily I have it for you because this was definitely a very intricate revenge plan. And I would love to know how the pieces all fell together in the end. So then, of course, OP has an update for this and they say, so I have an update for this barely 12 hours later. Before I get into the update, though, I want to clarify a few things from my original post, primarily about the contact to the employer and why. Some questions its truthfulness. While the entire story is true, some details were omitted for various reasons. There was more I had in opposition that did positively identify this individual. So, would a lawyer contact his employer? Like some stated, would not be done. Depends. I did not do what I did on behalf of a client who's retained me. I did it as a friend to help a friend. And as her friend, who is also a labour and employment law attorney, I knew exactly how to squeeze it. I love that. That's so funny. I bet this guy is so regretting being such a massive asshat. And here's the thing, I was absolutely aware from the onset that the Revenge P threat would go nowhere with his employer. Even if I could clearly lay out the person with the screen name was in fact this person who works at this company, or we had as screenshots. If it was just the Revenge P threat, any employer would go, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention. But even if we accept our employee uses this screen name and we neither confirm nor deny anyone of that name works here, we have no provenance on this. This is just an alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation that could be easily edited and manipulated. Please feel free to pursue with the local authorities and rest assured, should we be asked to, we will cooperate fully with any law enforcement inquiry, but we have no further comment at this time. Yeah, exactly. They're just going to shirk off responsibility, aren't they? Because it doesn't really affect them, so they just won't care. Because that's what a lot of places and companies are like. If it doesn't affect their pocket, they don't care. And I know that's what they would say because that's exactly what I would say. An alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation that was allegedly sent under an alleged username that is allegedly one of our employees. Whatever, dude, call the cops if you're worried about it. We'll answer them honestly if they come to us. The issue wasn't the Revenge P threat. It was the picture of the contents of the work laptop. Because that can't be faked. There's no way for her or me to create a false image of the actual proprietary information on his work computer unless he sent it. There's no way for me or her to have possession of images taken off his co-workers without their consent unless he sent them. Yeah, you got him over a barrel there. The proof here wasn't that this person broke the law, it's that he sent pictures of company employees and property which would absolutely be verifiable by their IT department that yes, this is absolutely his laptop. That's what should get him fired. So I advised my friend not to block him, to sit back and wait, not respond to anything, but let him dig himself in deeper. And respond he did. Update, he's been fired. So, with now definitive proof that the individual in the online conversation is in fact this person, we'll forward it all to the local authorities in his country, along with his license plate number. They're more than capable of getting his home address. Yeah, exactly. They've got everything now, and the company has essentially all but confirmed that he's guilty of stuff he shouldn't be doing and that those screenshots were him because they have fired him. So he's basically dug himself a massive hole, and I don't feel bad for him one bit. Sometimes you've got to go all around the houses to get to the end goal, and that's just the way it is. So, down in the comments, Artful Creatures says, I can't believe people didn't understand the proof that you sent to the company. As soon as I saw that he sent pics of company property employees, I knew he was fired. Yeah, exactly. And then the OP replies, I admit, I was a little confused by the whole, no lawyer would ever do that. Seriously? You hurt a friend and hand me away to F with you, and you think I won't press that button as hard as I can? What is it you people think we do? Exactly. The OP literally knows how to screw them over. They work in employment law. Charlie the Corgi replies, I can 100% believe this. One of my best friends from college is an attorney. He's basically Bruce Banner. You do not want to make him angry. This is literally something I can see him doing with a huge smile on his face. And then OP says, I am amused overall with people being like, that's not what an attorney would do. Send an email. Dude, that's the first thing we do 90% of the time. Yeah, I think this was perfect, absolute perfect revenge, because you can ruin somebody's life, or at least ruin the perception of their own life for them by sending out their explicit images to whoever you want to send them out to just because you're having a tantrum. So, F around, find out. And this person certainly found out. Next post, Aunt broke my model kit, so I took away her everything. Okay. This whole thing started exactly a year ago, but just ended, and a friend told me to post here, so off we go. I live in Turkey, and as you know, southeast of my country was wrecked by a couple of giant earthquakes a year ago. Yeah, I remember seeing about all that. It was awful. My city was the epicenter, and while the house I lived in with my family wasn't destroyed, a lot of shelves got knocked off, and one of them was the one where I held my Gumpler kits. I don't know what that is. Out of all the kits I had, only one survived, an MG the O that was heavily customized. I had built it with my grandfather, who passed away a few years ago, so I was ecstatic when it survived. A few months after, everything had calmed down, so my mother called her relatives for dinner, which included Aunt B, not for female dog, her name does start with the letter B. She came alongside her son, which is 8 and is an entitled brat. Oh, goody. While the adults were drinking coffee, this little brat barged in my room and demanded to play with my computer, which I refused since I was editing a video for my college society and had the camera on. Well, the brat went back crying to her mother, who came and started yelling at me. While I was dealing with her little brat climbed on my desk and took my model kit and then immediately dropped it and stepped on it. Oh, the little swine. Rest is just yelling, me swearing them up and down and telling them they were going to pay for it, with her calling me a weirdo for still having toys. Does OP say how old they are here? No, they don't. Not that it matters, by the way, age, but I'm just like, how do you decide when someone's too old for toys? Toys, I say in quotations because these were model kits, they're not even toys. And that she wasn't gonna pay for shite. My mother was at first a bit not into making her pay to keep the peace, but when she realised it is the kit that I made with my late grandfather, her father, she was angrier than I was and went out for blood. Goody. Good. We took the case to a friend of ours who is a lawyer that specialises within family cases. And they told us, since my camera caught it all, oh yeah, your camera was running, wasn't it? Oh, whoopsie. We would definitely win it, but it was better to come to an agreement out of court in a settlement since it would be cheaper. I pulled out a price list of the kits I needed to make an exact replica of the one that was destroyed, and it came to just about 1k USD. Wow, that is a lot of money. Which came to about 25k, 27k Turkish money. I don't know what TRY stands for. Listen, I don't travel. Forgive me. I barely leave my house with the exchange rate. Well, she refused, so we took her to court. She pulled all kinds of bullcrap to not pay and delay, but the judge ended up making her pay 1,650 USD, so almost double what the OP originally asked for. That's a bit of a blunder, isn't it? Plus, an order for her to pay any border taxes on the replacement kits alongside the court and lawyer fees. Wow. It completely effed her savings, and her husband, who was already waiting for a chance to divorce her, took it. Oh, I wonder why he was so desperate to get out. I wonder. When it all ended up, she had nothing and even lost her brat's custody to her ex-husband. And she not only lost the down payment she had for a house, she lost all her savings and didn't get alimony from her husband. Sounds like she doesn't deserve it. She sounds like an entitled Karen. And yeah, we don't F with those kinds of people. Am I happy her life got completely effed? No, not really. Do I feel sorry it happened? Not in the slightest. She and her crotch goblin effed around and that word, it always cracks me up, crotch goblin. Effed around and found out. It's that simple. I feel bad for her husband though. He's going to be the one trying to make that brat into a normal person, and I don't envy it in the slightest. Yeah, I mean, is this drastic? Yeah. But I imagine that this is not the first time that these pair, this mum and son duo, have done things to cause an absolute nuisance, a ruckus, and been entitled and thought that the family owed them everything on a silver platter. I can imagine this is not the first time that they've broken things as someone else's, because, you know, behaviour like that doesn't appear overnight. So yeah, it is a bit over the top, but it sounds like, reading between the lines, it was probably a long time coming. Now, of course, this is on the chance that it is actually real. I don't know why, but it feels almost like it could not be real. I hope it is, because I love when people get their comeuppance when they're entitled and they think they can do what they want. But I do feel with some Reddit threads, you do have to take them with a pinch of salt. But it doesn't make them any less fun to read, does it? So that doesn't matter. And then in the comments, Thasay says, this is nuclear indeed, more because of the fallout than the blast itself. OP says, I think these bombs are called dirty munitions in English, you know, that explode normally but has nuclear stuff in them to taint the ground. Yeah, basically. You have certainly tainted the ground, that's for sure. Next post, decline to pay me after I help you pass your exam. Have fun getting deported. So this happened a couple of years ago during the plague times when everything was online. A mutual friend, let's call him D, reached out to me absolutely desperate. He was on the verge of getting deported because he had already failed his coding exam twice. One more failure and he wouldn't be able to stay in the country. He knew I was good at coding and begged me to take the exam for him. He told me how his entire future depended on it, how he had no options left, etc. Feeling a bit sorry for him, I agreed on the condition that he would pay me $500 for doing it. He agreed immediately, so I spent a couple of weeks preparing. The exam was proctored over Zoom and we set it up so that I could control his computer remotely while he pretended to take the exam himself. We pulled it off without a hitch, and he passed the exam. Afterward, we went out for drinks to celebrate. Each paid for our own share because I didn't want him deducting anything from what he owed me. This is all very dodgy though, OP, isn't it? Really, you shouldn't be doing that for people either, because let's be realistic. If the whole idea of him doing these exams is to then go ahead and get a job in this stuff, how is he ever going to work in it if he clearly doesn't know it? I hope the idea here was for him to then go on and study harder and actually learn the stuff afterwards in his own time. Here's where things went downhill. He gave me $100 up front and promised to pay the remaining $400 in a couple of weeks after he sorted out his graduation stuff. Weeks turned into months and he kept dodging me with excuses. After 6 months of this, it became clear he wasn't going to pay me back. I gave him multiple warnings to pay me or I'll report him, but he kept taking it lightly and blocked me. I was miffed. I helped him out and he completely ghosted me after getting what he wanted. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. First, I reported him to his university for academic misconduct. I explained in detail how I was the one who took the exam for him and provided evidence to back it up. They investigated and failed him retroactively, which meant he couldn't graduate. Since his visa was tied to his student status, this basically screwed him over completely. Some context, I have been trying to say anonymous for the last 2 minutes now. And I keep tripping over it. Let's try this again, and I'm going to say it slowly, so please do forgive me. Okay, so we're going to say it slowly. It was an anonymous tip-off to the college with a fake email with all the proof they called him and gave him a chance to retake the exam on the spot. But the guy never studied and failed at the most basic stuff. Yeah, see what I mean? He can't replicate it, so what was the point in him doing it in the first place? Because again, if he's gonna go and do this as a job, he needs to be able to replicate this to be able to do the flaming job. Also, I'm very proud of myself. I finally managed to get over that word. Go me! But it didn't end there. He was still living in the country, illegally, hoping to somehow fix things. I knew he had no way out, so I anonymously tipped off the authorities saying there was an illegal immigrant involved in suspicious activity living in my area. They came, found out he was there illegally, and he got deported. OP. This absolutely is nuclear, isn't it? Context. As for the deport, I felt a bit scared in case he tried to hurt me in some way, so I made sure he never set foot in there again. Wow. Now some mutual friends are saying I went too far, that it was a petty move to ruin his entire life over $400. On one hand, I feel like he deserved it for trying to scam me. I wouldn't have minded if he came clean saying he doesn't have money or financial capacity to pay and he was sorry. I would have let the matters go without a hitch. I posted on another sub, Am I the Butthole, but started getting D threats. D threats, that sounds like something else, doesn't it? Unalive threats. I feel like you guys here wouldn't mind this with a devil face. Do you know, I'm actually unsure how I feel about this one. I do feel like this was a bit much. I do, because obviously we don't know what's going on, what country he came from, if it was somewhere that he was just trying to escape from. But at the same time, he was really dishonest. He was really friggin' smug about it. And he thought he could just get away with absolutely messing OP about. And OP did something that could get them in a lot of trouble legally, you know? So I'm really torn on this one, actually. Yeah, I think I am torn on this one. I don't know where I sit with it. Down in the comments, Pereira 2088 says it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. And then T Square 43 says it's not personal, it's business. Oh, I think OP certainly sent a message and also sent them to a different country altogether for their troubles. Like, yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. I think I'm just one of them people I'd feel too mean, like actively getting them deported, even if they'd done like that to me and mess me around with money and stuff. I think I would feel too mean to do it because, yeah, that's a whole like they've got to find their feet now back in their country where they might have like left everything, like have nothing there anymore and have everything in the new country they've started to try and build themselves up in. And it's like, yeah, just don't know how I feel about that one. What do you guys think? And then I think this might be our last post for the day. My neighbour liked to clean. First posted in petty revenge, but I was told it belongs here. I thought I got nuclear, but my revenge was still petty. I'll let you be the judge of that. 2001, I had just moved to a quiet neighbourhood where my children, 1 and 3, could play outside safely and grow with the neighbourhood children. It was also nice for my cats, 3, to finally be able to run around outside. After the first week, it was our first garbage day. Everything neatly in closed bags and in our personal garbage container. In the morning, we had to place the container on the side of the road with the rest of the containers on our street. So it was there at 7 a.m, after which I started cleaning my house. I had a white floor because I liked it, and that way I knew for sure that it was clean. I mopped daily. Mate, couldn't be me. Could not be me. Oh, could you imagine? Like, I mean, there's a little bit of white on my tiles, I suppose, but mostly they're black because, yeah, if I see a bit of dirt on it, it's going to drive me insane. And I can't be mopping all day every day. Like, how on earth do you keep white tiles clean with pets and kids? I was still extremely clean at the time because of my crawling children. Then I did the shopping, and when I got home, I was in shock after opening my front door. My entire hall was full of unknown waste. Pieces of glass, sharp metal lids, pieces of food, cartons, plastic, etc. Like, girl, do you not lock your door when you leave? Oh, clearly stuffed through the mail slot. See, that's why we read first. I already saw a number of neighbours looking at me expectantly behind their windows and in front of their house. It was clear that they knew more. After asking around, I was told who had thrown that garbage in my house. Conscious neighbour had done this with much fanfare. Why? Something snapped inside me. A bomb in my frontal lobe, and all decency disappeared from my mind. Steam from my ears. I cleaned out the trash and put the kids in the living room. Then I cleaned the cat litter box. Normally, oh, I know where this is going. I think I know where this is going. Normally, I throw the entire contents in a bag, but now I was a bit more precise. I only scooped the crap and the urine clumps out the box and divided it evenly into 2 small bags, those thin ones that tear quickly. I took the bags and went to the neighbour further down the street. I rang the doorbell and kept the bags behind me. The lady opened the door with a smug grin on her face. The door opened wide, and I could quickly see her hall. On the right, a carpeted staircase. On the left, the open door to the living room. The hall continued for another 1.5 meters to the back after the stairs and the door, where the toilet was. Everything was super clean. I asked her devilishly calmly if she had put that waste through my mail slot. Her answer was yes, followed by the reasoning that because I was new here, that the loose waste that was lying around the placed containers must have been mine, because before we lived here, that never happened. This was the moment that all the blood vessels in my eyes burst. The calm was gone. In a tirade of abuse, I made it clear to her that I had not been the polluter and that if she had any decency, she could have spoken to me instead of jumping to conclusions and dirtying my house and endangering my crawling children and animals by dumping that waste inside my house like that. With the message that she liked to clean up so much, here please, and I threw 2 bags in her hallway, one against the corner of the stairs and the other on the doorpost of the living room. Everything, really everything, was covered in crap and the splattered clumps of cat urine, with a warning promise that if she ever thought of doing something like that again, I would smash all her windows. Oh my goodness, I love it. I turned around and went home. Everyone had seen and heard everything. Oh yeah, I bet there was some major curtain twitching going on your street that day. I never heard anything from that neighbour again. No one ever thought of doing something like that to me again. I can still enjoy the face she pulled when she saw the bags flying. It was shock, fear, indignation, nausea, and despair all at once. How lovely. I love it. I love it. Not only did you repay the mess, so not only did you get absolute payback for that, you also put the absolute fear of God in her. So she will never ever try and pull that again. And I love that. I am all for that. You got to nip it in the bud as soon as someone starts trying to pull things like that. You got to be like, we are not having this. And I'm going to show you exactly why we are not having this. You got to get dirty. And then down in the comments, Ellie Uno says, this is perfect, but honestly, who the hell does this kind of crap to their new neighbour? Yeah, this is what I thought. It would probably have taken her 5 to 10 minutes to walk to your house and have a conversation. I can't imagine how much time she wasted picking up garbage, stuffing it through your mail slot, and then cleaning up cat poo and pee clumps. That lady is so lucky you don't have a dog. Now, as the owner of 3 cats, I can assure you cats can make just as much poo. Believe you me. They really can. But no, this woman is absolutely insane that put that stuff through your door, and it's almost like she picked out the stuff purposefully that could cause actual injury and damage. Because seeing as she had to purposefully stick it through the letterbox, she knew bit by bit what she was putting in. She knows you've got kids, young kids at that, and she put glass and sharp metal through your door. She deserved all of that cat crap, if you ask me. And then Maddox666 replies, people are so crazy sometimes. When we moved into our house, we had a lot of garbage from renovations and whatnot, and had one trash bag sitting by the can because it was too full. The neighbours across the way took the bag and threw it all over our driveway. We're cordial now, but I was an a-hole to him for a long while. And on that note, we're going to leave it there for today. So obviously, like I say, this was a new one, trying it out. Not sure if YouTube's even going to like it, considering considering the name of the flaming subreddit for a start. Also, it's a bit of a slow subreddit these days. Like, I used to check in on that one quite a lot. But when I went on there, what I will do is I'll go to the top posts. So basically, they're the posts that people have upvoted the most, which usually means they are the most interesting. But when I did that, I had to do it for the last year because for the last month, for the last week, there was nothing. No posts. So I'm not sure how much of one it is going to be able to be done regularly, but we can also look at petty revenge and pro revenge because they are slightly similar, but not as absolutely insane. But they're still insane, and usually they're very, very funny. So we can look at those and then pick up a few from this subreddit as of when they roll in, you know? But yeah, this was just a bit of a test, really, to see if the video gets completely hidden from everybody. We'll soon see, won't we? But anyway, if you made it all the way to the end, then I do appreciate you very, very much. And I would appreciate you even more if you left a like and subscribed because I do post every single day. Other than that, I'm going to get off. It is now, what time are we on? 1 in the morning. It's 1 in the morning. Goodness me. And I still have to put my laundry out, which is great. So I'm going to go and do that. I hope you have a good rest of your day, whatever it is that you're doing. And goodbye.